Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? Hour number 2 of the Braden Surprenant Show. Reality. Hour number 1 of the show. Hour number 2 of this time slot as we just finished up the San Diego Padres roundtable on 97.3 The Fan. Good roundtable today, kind of recapping the first half and trying to get a preview of the second half of the season. And as Rod, San Diego's number one fan, 97.3 The Fan's number one fan, biggest fan, he's fired up for the second half of the season. I'm fired up too. I mean, I gave my prediction to finish the show. And, you know, with the roundtable, there's a lot of good topics that get thrown in there from Ben Higgins that, you know, I like to kind of talk about a little bit more on our show. And again, if you missed the roundtable, you can find it wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. You can also go find it on YouTube. Find it on my YouTube page, at @B_SURP. Subscribe to it. We're trying to get more subscribers. But then again, it re-airs at about 5 o'clock. So, I was going to start the show with some of the things that are being talked about around Major League Baseball. Dodgers interested in getting some bullpen help. Baltimore's willing to trade some of their pitching staff that they have, or guys like Felix Bautista. The White Sox in a lot of trouble when it comes to Luis Robert Jr. because they want to get some. They declined his option at the end of the year, but he's not really playing to a level that they're going to get anything out of him. Tampa Bay is kind of in a wait-and-see mode. Cal Raleigh, breakout star for the Mariners. Some of the things that are trending in Major League Baseball as we get ready for the second half, which starts tomorrow. And for the Padres, it starts early tomorrow because they begin their Comic-Con road trip, which is their East Coast road trip. They go to Washington, they go to Miami, and they go to St. Louis before returning home against Frank Marchese's New York Mets. 2 days before the trade deadline. So I'll dive into a little bit of that in just a little bit. But let's talk about the last thing that we discussed on the roundtable. Second half predictions for the San Diego Padres. There's a couple other things that we discussed on the roundtable I thought were good. But let's talk about second half prediction for the Padres. We can talk about it again tomorrow because there won't be a game tonight. As I told all the kids at Cathedral, now most of them were probably exhausted from their Project Crucible, which they're continuing today, and I'll be up there again at 2 o'clock. I didn't leave yesterday at like 9:30. A long day at the yard. Like, oh, who are the Padres playing today? Come on, man. It's All-Star break. Second half of the season. I think the Padres go out and get a couple of bats. If you try to predict what A.J. Preller does at the trade deadline, it's a fool's errand. Because you have no idea what this guy's going to do. We've talked about it before. We've seen the reports about it. There's a lot of reports about Sean Murphy and Jarren Duran, and the Padres remain enamored with a guy like Jarren Duran and this and that. The more they talk about Jarren Duran, the less likely I think the San Diego Padres are going to go get Jarren Duran. Because on top of that, as been laid out in all the reports about the Padres and about A.J. Preller is, these are just two names out of all these other players that they're talking about. All these other players that they're talking about. Or talking to teams with. There's always a couple players that are not even on anybody's radar that the Padres end up getting at the trade deadline. So I wouldn't be too hyped on Jarren Duran. I wouldn't be too worried about Jarren Duran if you're one of the people that doesn't want to see Jarren Duran in a Padres uniform. I think it's going to cost too much money. But I think they're going to get 2 bats. That would be my prediction. I think they go get 2 bats. One of them being an outfielder, fine, maybe a DH. I think it'd be very difficult to get a catcher that can actually swing it. There's not a lot of those guys available right now in Major League Baseball. But I think they go get a couple of bats. I also think they probably add a bullpen arm on the margins. And that's what I think their trade deadline is going to be. I think they're going to get 2 bats and 1 bullpen arm. I don't think they end up trading Robert Suarez, although Chris and I made a good case to potentially do that And that's not to say Robert Suarez has been bad, because he's been good. He leads the National League in saves. But out of the four horsemen, the guy that I don't really want to see in high leverage situations, which is shocking, knowing that he's a closer, is a guy like Robert Suarez. I don't think they trade him. I don't think they trade Dylan Cease either. I think they get 2 bats. I think they get a bullpen arm. I think they get enough production out of Michael King and Yu Darvish in the second half of the season. And I think the players that were starting to turn it around at the end of the first half will continue it in the second half. And I think the Padres won't win the division, but I think they make a push and put the pressure on LA. I think they do that. I think they probably come within less than 5 games of first place in the division. I think this team has the ability to do that. I've seen a lot of bright spots with this team. I think they are better. I think the first half of this season, not only record-wise, but I think the first half of this season, the Padres have been better than the first half of last season. I think we forget how bad the Padres were in the first half of last season. They were a roller coaster. They were frustrating to watch. And I think they were more frustrating to watch last year at this time than they were this year at this time. And remember, they went into the All-Star break 50-49, got their asses handed to them by the Cleveland Guardians in Game 1 of the second half, ceremonial second half, and Game 100 to get to 50-50. And then they finally just started to go on a tear. There's a couple of things about this team that I like. I like that they're bought in. I like that they win on the margins. I like the way Mike Shildt handles the veteran guys, the stars, and the rookies. I think the track record for Mike Shildt speaks for itself. Mike Shildt frustrates a lot of us, I think. Frustrates us in press conferences, I can tell you that right now. But he does his job. He does what he's supposed to do. Not only does he do his job, but he gets guys to play hard for him. And that's what you want to see out of a manager. They believe in what he has to say. They believe in his track record. And I think this team does have a lot of heart, even though sometimes us as fans in certain games think like they don't. It's time to turn it on for the San Diego Padres. I thought last weekend's series against Philadelphia was a good precursor for the second half. They went out there and competed. They knew they needed to do well in this homestand. They knew they needed to do well against Philadelphia. They took on arguably some of the best starting pitchers that they're going to face throughout the rest of the year and probably in the postseason, and they did fairly well against them, and they battled. And not every one of those games they jump out to a huge lead and just hung on. They had those games. And they were really close to getting a sweep over the Philadelphia Phillies. And like I've said before, and I've said it for the last couple of weeks, and I will continue to say it until the trade deadline actually happens, you don't need to get a Juan Soto, even though we know there's not a Juan Soto type available. You don't need to go get the Trey Turner, Max Scherzer deal that the Dodgers got a couple of years ago. You just need to add a couple of average bats, just above average bats to this lineup, and I'm telling you, it's going to work wonders for this offense. You're finally starting to see it out of some of the players that we are all ready to, players that we thought were dead and buried. Like we said about Xander Bogaerts, who actually outplayed Mookie Betts in the first half of the season. Statistically, in every statistical category, except for I think 2, Xander Bogaerts is a better player than Mookie Betts at the beginning of in the first half of the season. That's with as bad of stretches that he had. He's playing better. I think Jackson Merrill is going to come out of his slump over the weekend. That he came out of over the weekend with a couple of home runs. I think he continues that. Fernando looks a lot more comfortable. He looked a lot more comfortable over the weekend. I thought he looked better. He looked comfortable at the All-Star game and all the other aspects that it deal with. I think his dad being around helped out. We already know about the season Manny Machado has been able to put together. I'm telling you right now, prediction-wise, if the Padres do what I think they will do at the deadline, I think the Padres will push for a division title. I don't think they win it, but I think they push for it. And what I mean by push, I think they finish within 5 games of the division title. It's going to come down to the wire, and the Dodgers might just etch them a little bit with the series in August. But I think they're going to be able to do it. We'll talk more about second half predictions here on the show. If you want to weigh in, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to talk with Robbie Loya, who is the Lake Elsinore Storm broadcaster, to finish up our minor league week. This week, we gave you everything you needed to know about the minor leagues. And I'm telling you right now, they got a great bullpen. Top to bottom, they got a lot of bullpen arms is what we learned about. We learned that they got other players in the organization that are very good outside of the top 30 prospects. Again, I talk about the rankings all the time, and Kylie McDaniel updated his rankings. You got to see where the number one pick for the Padres has now been placed in Schoolcraft. I mean, he's been picked by some experts as being the best pick in the draft for where he was slotted to be and where he ended up going to the Padres. But the Padres have good depth in the bullpen in the minor leagues, and we've learned about a couple of position players that are shining right now. They're not even considered part of the top 30 prospects. That might be players that the Padres keep in the long term or even trade for some valuable assets at the trade deadline. We'll talk about the Lake Elsinore Storm. Padres second half storylines we'll get into in noon. We'll talk about the new updated top 10 for the Padres in their minor league system. Bill Shaikin will join us at 12:30. Talk about what he learned at the All-Star break, not necessarily on the field, but some of the business things about a salary cap, about Olympics, about some things behind the scenes, the new collective bargaining agreement that has to be discussed after 2026, that sort of business side of things. We'll talk to Bill Shaikin about, get a preview of the second half of the season. And then the Aztecs. San Diego State Aztec football picked 8th in the Mountain West. I think they're going to finish higher than that. They had a couple of players picked for the All Mountain West team. We'll talk about those players as well. Go through the Aztec, get a very brief Aztec preview for their season before they start up practice here in the next couple of weeks or so, as they have media days this week in Las Vegas. So we'll finish the show with that. If you want to join the show today, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Just getting started on a Thursday, the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 11:18 on a Thursday morning in America's finest city. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese. Thanks again for joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show each and every day from 10 to 2. If you haven't done so already, on the YouTube page, on our YouTube video. For all of you watching on YouTube, give us a like. It helps us out a lot. And please subscribe to our podcast, but also subscribe to our YouTube page. at @B_SURP. If you want to find it, it's in the description below. There's a link to it. It's the first link that you see, youtube.com/@B_SURP @BSURP. Hit subscribe. You can find our content way easier. It's a lot easier to find it when you're watching on YouTube. You pull up the YouTube app on your phone and you click subscriptions and boom, all our stuff is right there. So you don't have to go searching for us. Or search for 97 through the fan. It's super simple, and it helps us out a lot. So you haven't done so already, and you listen to the show every day, or you watch the show every day, or you're chatting away in the YouTube chat every day, click like on the video and click subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to the 97 through the fan count, please do that too. We're trying to get to 10,000 followers. Subscribers, I should say. If you need to follow any of our stuff, it's posted below on YouTube. You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, on X, all by the same handle, B_SURP. You can also see where all of our stuff is in audio form on Spotify. Frank has put the link in there. If you're on Spotify, you can subscribe to our stuff. Follow it. Please do. It helps us. It helps us a lot. Trying to push the show out as much as possible to the wonderful, beautiful people of San Diego. I love the beautiful people of San Diego. Hit the Spotify link. Subscribe. So easy to do. You will never miss any of our content. And we have extra content on our other pages that we don't get to do every single day. There's stuff that doesn't make the cut with this show. And during the football season, we're definitely going to have extra content on our other pages. So be sure to subscribe now. Be sure to like now. Be sure to follow now. All that stuff. You can see some of the stuff that we post when it comes to softball and OTL. The OTL stuff's going to be great. We're working on that right now. And hopefully when we get enough videos, instead of you guys listening to music in between, we'll have enough of this stuff, this mic'd up stuff for commercials. And you get to watch these videos all the time. But you have to get us to 500 subscribers before that happens. So push out the word, really help out. Only got about 15 likes. Got 56 people watching right now on YouTube. Got a handful of you guys watching on the Braden Surprenant page. We appreciate all of you. Like these videos, subscribe to them. It helps us out. All right. That is that. What's going on in Major League Baseball? What are some of the trending topics in Major League Baseball? What is Ken Rosenthal hearing? There's a couple of things in here that involve the Padres that we're going to discuss further at about 11:30. Or no, at about noon. We're going to have Robbie Loya on at 11:30. So, a couple of things of what Ken Rosenthal is hearing. The Los Angeles Dodgers, it always starts with the Dodgers with him. Does it ever not start with the Dodgers with Ken Rosenthal? Isn't he on their payroll? Los Angeles Dodgers, despite heavily investing in their bullpen, are now expected to shop for relief help at the trade deadline. Free agent addition Tanner Scott has underperformed, and injuries to key relievers like Evan Phillips, who's out for the year, Brusdar Graterol, Blake Trinan, and Michael Kopech have exposed the Dodgers' lack of deadline-proof depth. I'm going to be really curious to see what the Dodgers do at the deadline. I mean, if they're still looking with the payroll that they have, how easy is it to fill out that lineup? How easy is it to manage that team? Got to be one of the easiest. I'm going to fix my camera again. This is happening too much. Hang on a second. There you go. Remove the echo. All right, back to what we were talking about. As I fix the YouTube stream. Dodgers. Looking for bullpen help. We'll see what they add. See if they add anybody. I'm sure they'll add one or two. Can't imagine it being too much more than that. Baltimore. Interesting with Baltimore. They have two intriguing trade chips in Charlie Morton and Trevor Rogers, both of whom have turned their seasons around. Baltimore unlikely to deal key pieces like Felix Bautista, but has nearly a dozen expiring contracts that could look to move. That's what Baltimore's up to. The White Sox, which leads to another talking point, and we might as well just get to this now just because it involves the Padres. The Chicago White Sox might be forced to trade struggling outfielder Luis Robert Jr. despite his plummeting value. While the American League Central boasts an array of attractive, controllable bullpen arms, teams like Minnesota and Cleveland could be trade partners if they decide to sell. Tampa Bay is a wait-and-see mode amid a slump, but could move players like Pete Fairbanks and Brandon Lau if they fall out of contention. A wild hypothetical is raised. Could new Rays ownership make a splash by signing Tampa Bay native Kyle Tucker in free agency? Lastly, Cal Raleigh, a breakout star for the Mariners, continues to rake and earned a Golden Locker Clubhouse Cleanliness Award, adding to his already impressive 2025 resume. That is what Ken Rosenthal is hearing. Now, to go beyond that, let's go back to the Luis Robert Jr. situation. Here's the deal with Luis Robert Jr. And in the column from Ken Rosenthal, he talks about recent midseason awards column that the Athletic's Jason Stark put out. He named Chicago White Sox center fielder Luis Robert as his least valuable player. LVP. Quote from Jason Stark's article or column: he has one job, and it's to get himself traded, and he's failing. Luis Robert currently has a .599 OPS and a .67 OPS plus, the lowest totals of his career. The problem for the White Sox is they face little choice but to move Robert anyway. There seems virtually no chance of the team exercising Robert's $20 million option for 2026. A trade would be the only way to get something back, however meager. Robert's 190 batting average is the second lowest amongst qualifiers after Michael Conforto's 184. He has struck out nearly twice as many times as he has hits, 93 strikeouts, 51 hits. And his offense is so bad, his B-WAR is at a replacement level, and his F-WAR is just slightly above, even though he has stolen 22 bases in 28 attempts and rates as an above-average center fielder. Quote, perhaps a team such as the San Diego Padres would take Robert if the White Sox included a portion of his remaining salary, something the team has indicated a willingness to do, but even then the White Sox could not count on getting much of a return. Robert's value keeps sinking and time is running out. Now, should the Padres think about this? I honestly think they should. And I'm going to tell you why, before people start chirping. I know he's hitting a .190. I know his OPS is below 600. I know he's having a miserable season. But I'm going to tell you right now, if the White Sox are willing to pay half of what he's owed, which would be half of $7 million, because it's about $7 million you're going to have to pay in the second half of the season. Okay, maybe like he's making $20 million. So maybe just under that, probably $8 million. You probably owe $8 to $9 million. They got to pay for half of that for $4 million to get a guy like Luis Robert Jr. And by the way, you're not having to give it up any good prospects. The guy's terrible, and he's on an expiring contract. He's on a club option that nobody's going to pick up. You could potentially take a chance on Luis Robert Jr. for almost nothing. I wouldn't mind that if I'm the San Diego Padres. I don't know how many teams can afford to do that. But now, I don't think he should be the only play. Now, if that's their only move, I think that'd be catastrophically bad. But I don't think it's going to be their only move. I wouldn't mind taking a chance on Luis Robert Jr. since he's basically getting sent away for nothing. A half season of Luis Robert Jr., where you don't have to worry about paying him the next year. You don't owe him a lot of money for $4 million and maybe like a high A prospect. You could get Luis Robert Jr. and hope that you find lightning in a bottle. I'm not opposed to that. I mean, this is the same organization that cut Gavin Sheets because he wasn't good enough for them. I mean, Gavin Sheets has been great. Padres have fleeced the White Sox in the past. And guess what? If he doesn't do anything, it's too much. I think he's got potential upside. I think his ability to steal bases is huge. I think his ability to play defense in left field's good. I would be willing to have a conversation. I'd be willing to have a conversation. I would not be opposed to acquiring Luis Robert Jr. Again, context. You're not going to have to give anything up for him. The White Sox are going to pay for half of what he's owed to you this season, and it's not your only move. I say yes. Why not? You can't tell me rolling him out there is worse than rolling out Bryce Johnson. You can't tell me rolling him out there for a pinch hit opportunity is worse than Trenton Brooks. You can't tell me that him pinch hitting instead of Jose Iglesias is a worse decision. You can't tell me it's worse. I think you could totally pull that off and still get two other bats. If you had Luis Robert Jr. and two other bats and you lengthen the lineup a bit, him being surrounded by good players, I bet you he turns it around. I'm not opposed to this. I'm not opposed to this at all. I think the juice is worth the squeeze. Now, if you had to pay for the remaining salary of Luis Robert Jr. and give up a top 10 prospect, I'd say no way, absolutely not. But that's not what the asking price is. And I don't think the competition for him is going to be very steep. I don't think he's going to be a lot of competition for him because he flat out sucks right now. That's a definitely buy low situation. I think it's worth it to buy low on Luis Robert Jr. I think it's worth it. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I think he could turn that thing around. There might be some prospects in low A Lake Elsinore that you could give up for him. Speaking of low A Lake Elsinore, Robbie Loya of the Lake Elsinore Storm is going to join us next. We'll learn a little bit more about the Storm when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. Baseball coverage on 97 to the Fan is presented by T-Mobile at T-Mobile.com. I'm going to get a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. We are continuing our coverage this week on the Padres minor league system. We talked about AAA El Paso and AA San Antonio on Tuesday. We talked about High A Fort Wayne yesterday. And today we are going to talk about Low A, Lake Elsinore in the California League. And joining us today on the Braden Surprenant Show is the Lake Elsinore Storm broadcaster and Robbie Loya. Robbie, what's going on?
Hey, guys. Really appreciate you guys having me on. Always great to talk a little bit about Storm baseball.
And just up the road, it's always great for a lot of our Padres fans to go see the Padres of the future up in Lake Elsinore. It's not that far of a drive. For anybody that hasn't been to the Diamond in Lake Elsinore, I've been a handful of times. What's it like going to a game up there in Lake Elsinore?
You can't beat it. It's currently ranked one of the best stadiums in California for the low A level. It's gorgeous. We always have great food. I know right a couple of weeks ago, you Darvish did some simulated games with us in Lake Elsinore, so it's good for our young guys to kind of get some reps. But no doubt, a lot of fun, a lot of wacky things going on in the low A level, but so much fun. We even have a bat dog. So I don't know. You can't really beat it here in Lake Elsinore, that's for sure.
Well, that's going to entice our producer, Frank. He's really into bat dogs, so he might be up there relatively soon. Robbie, let's talk about the first half for the Lake Elsinore Storm. Overall, what was the first half like for the single A affiliates, and who kind of stood out in the first half of the season?
You know, no doubt the first half of the season was really a story of growth and development. I mean, you know, it took a little while for the results to show up in the win column, but, you know, right, low A baseball, it's really about learning how to be a professional ball player. Our manager, Brian Burris, has done an outstanding job, you know, just guiding this young group. He's been patient. He's been consistent, really focusing on helping these guys grow, not as just ball players, but as people too, right? And, you know, you see that things are coming together in the last few weeks, maybe the month or so too. And the team is now tied for first in the California South Division in the second half. And, you know, that's credit to how far these players have come from. A lot of these guys that are playing a full season of baseball, right? Unlike college or high school where you're playing 40 to 60 games max. Now they're getting used to the grind, the routines, and how to really bring energy every single night. And it's definitely starting to show. I mean, for me, I think the guy that really stood out to me, you can go either way. For last year's first round pick, Cash Mayfield, no doubt he's been cash money. Likewise for our second rounder last year, Boston Bateman, aka Sasquatch, got that name in high school for his 6'8" frame, just like our first rounder this year from Schoolcraft. So no doubt you kind of see the trend with left-handed pitching, but no doubt the pitching has been excellent, more so on the starting side for Lake Elsinore. We got this really young kid, Zach Evans from Lenore-Ryan University from the 2024 class that's been very consistent. So no doubt we're seeing a lot of flashes from the young, hopefully future Padres here in the low A level here in Lake Elsinore.
Let's go into more detail about the pitching staff, Robbie. We've talked to all the broadcasters this week from all the affiliates in the Padres organization, and they've all said the same thing. It's been pitching, and the Padres have been lauded for their pitching staff, not only from the major league level, but also throughout all the levels. Now, most of AA and AAA and even High A has been bullpen pieces, but you mentioned it's been the starting staff a little bit more. Tell us a little bit more about some of those starters. You mentioned some of them already, like Boston Bateman, but what has made this starting staff so good for the Padres minor league affiliate?
Just consistency, attacking the strike zone. You know, one of the key guys that stepped up a lot, no doubt, was last year's first rounder, Cash Mayfield. I mean, he is cash money when he's on the rubber. You know, he's a guy, fastball sits low to mid-90s. No doubt that's just going to continue to improve. But his real weapon is certainly that changeup. It's nasty. Late dipping pitch that just disappears. He gets hitters to swing through it all day. Not walking a lot of guys either. His command is improving. He's learning how to pitch, not certainly just throwing, aiming his pitches either. You know, he's got a lot of tools for a frontline starter. And, you know, I was listening in yesterday how you guys were kind of comparing, right, Trey Turner with Brandon Butterworth, who was a favorite in Lake Elsinore last year. And Mayfield, a lot of people are looking at him kind of like a young Blake Snell, with his delivery, his mentality. No doubt when you watch his tempo, the way he attacks hitters, you see it. I really, truly believe Mayfield's going to be really has a big future ahead of him in the big leagues, and no doubt he's worth the price of admission to see him pitch in Lake Elsinore. But to your point too, again, the starting rotation has really stood out the most for Lake Elsinore this season, and I think what's so valuable, especially in the low A level, that these guys are getting deeper into games, which is nice. I briefly talked about Boston Bateman earlier. He could easily go 5 innings at a minimum. They could go longer. A couple of our guys that just got sent up to Fort Wayne has pitched as many as 8 innings, which is rare in the low A level, right? But I think that's what's so valuable, to save the bullpen. The fact that your starters can easily go, 5, give you 6, give you a quality start. And no doubt, I would say pitching-wise, that's been the main output for Lake Elsinore pitching, is just that our starters can really go deep into games so far this season.
We're talking with Robbie Loya, as the Storm broadcaster for Lake Elsinore Storm, the low A level affiliate of the San Diego affiliate of the San Diego Padres, just up the road, up Interstate 15 in Lake Elsinore. A great place to catch a game with the family in the summertime. Got a lot of young and fun prospects to catch up there in Lake Elsinore. We talked about the pitching staff, Robbie. Let's talk about the offense. Who are some of the names that have really jumped out from the offensive side for the Storm?
It's been a little bit of everyone. It's been a team effort. I mentioned Zach Evans, who's been really consistent lately. I expect Cason Wells to return from the IL. He's been our leadoff guy. I mean, we're so lucky in Lake Elsinore. And I bring that point because you look at the top 30 prospect list. We have 8 out of the top 30 prospects in the Lake Elsinore roster. 6 of them are ranked in the top 10. And one of those specifically, well, he's ranked 29 right now, but right now on my list has to be Lamar King Jr. He's a true leader in the clubhouse. He was just named the California League Player of the Month for June after batting .408, and it's no fluke. He's consistently hitting doubles in the gaps. He's leading the league in that category. He's showing off his advanced plate discipline rather. But again, I mentioned it earlier, he's no doubt becoming a leader in the clubhouse. He's one of the most respected guys. Everyone's so kind. He's kind of that guy that these young kids will rely on. And, the staff, the players, they notice his leadership skills, what he brings to the table. And especially at this level where player development is the focus, this goes a long way. And he comes from a football family. His dad played in the NFL for the Seahawks. But, Lamar has made a name for himself on the baseball field with a sturdy frame. He has great instincts behind the plate. Truly one of our better defensive catchers, in my opinion. And I think what's so exciting for him is just how he handles adversity. He has been battling injury since he first arrived in the Padres system. This is probably the first true year that he's been 100% healthy all season long. That's seeing that is exactly what kind of force, he can bring when everything's clicking, when he continues on this track. There's no doubt in my mind he could be a future Padre rather. And, you're seeing the tools, the confidence, the maturity, all of it's coming together. And he's been so awesome to watch unfold in Lake Elsinore. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't last long with us and he gets called up. So to have a guy like him and the numbers that he's putting up, no doubt has been incredible. And this is a team that maybe isn't so known for power right now, but, we just got Kavaris Tears maybe a month ago, right? 2024 College World Series champion with the Tennessee Volunteers, and his presence right to the lineup. And for Kavaris Tears, he's able to do a little bit of everything. He could play in the outfield. He could DH for us. Here in the low A level, we kind of mix around everyone. We don't stick to their primary positions, and it gives them a chance to see what they're capable of doing outside of their abilities that we've seen when we scouted them. But no doubt Kavaris Tears and Lamartine Jr. certainly been on my radar from the offensive side for LE this year.
Talking with Lake Elsinore Storm's broadcaster Robbie Loya on the Braden Surprenant show. We really appreciate your time joining us this morning, I guess, here in America's finest city. Padres have been, in terms of the overall rankings of their farm system, according to outlets like MLB Pipeline and Baseball America, it's not ranked one of the highest ones, but around Major League Baseball, a lot of teams evaluate the Padres farm system a lot higher. In fact, some of them even have them as a top 10 farm system. So some players for you that you've seen that might contribute to that, that might not be in the MLB Pipeline top 30, but are players that really give this organization depth that maybe not a lot of Padres fans know about.
Yeah, it has to be Zach Evans from Lenore-Ryan University. And, the reason why it's that he's always been so consistent. He's been our everyday guy at third base, but he can play anywhere in the infield. We'll see him around at shortstop, maybe at second. But again, for Zach Evans, he came out of the box. He started this year fresh. Like I said, hitting kind of struggled a little bit to start off the year, but Evans was just continually to be consistent, always got on base. He currently has the longest hitting streak with 13 compared to player currently active on the roster, which I think is a big deal for the low A level. He has come in playing like he's always a veteran. He doesn't make too many mistakes on the field. Even when he's batting, right, he doesn't really have that home run power just quite yet, but he does a terrific job of just finding the alleys in the outfield. And for me personally, I'm a small ball guy. I don't know. It's a 50-50. People have different opinions, right? But Lake Elsinore, we're known for actually playing a little bit of small ball, putting the ball in play, moving runners over. He does a tremendous job locating outfielders, locating the defense. They'll like to kind of shift a little bit middle in, and that just shows the good timing that he has with his stick. He's another true leader in the clubhouse, and a lot of positives to say about Zach Evans as he continues to grind. But you need a clutch situation, any high pressure moment, no doubt Zach Evans is a go-to guy for us.
Well, Robbie, if you have done play-by-play for Cal State Fullerton and UC Irvine, it doesn't surprise me that you'd be a small ball lover in the minor league baseball world. Big West baseball, a lot of small ball on a Tuesday night. We're talking with Robbie Loya, who's the Storm broadcaster for Lake Elsinore Storm, low A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. Last thing for you, Robbie, we asked a couple of the broadcasters what it's like being around, because as a minor league broadcaster, you're not just a broadcaster. You got to do a lot of different stuff for the front office and for the organization. What's the front office like around trade deadline time, knowing that AJ Preller is in charge in making a lot of trades and guys getting shipped off all over the place? What's these next couple of weeks going to look like for you?
It hasn't been too bad yet. Obviously there's always rumors going around, and I had a chance to talk to Brian Burse about it, and I was like, hey, what are your thoughts on everything? And he was like, you know what? Yeah, it could be scary. And, our young guys that maybe just got drafted, he's pointing towards, this is a good mental aspect of them learning, right, what's to come, or, them going through the rumors and, the business side of baseball, right? So, we're always prepared for everything, but you know what? We're always a big, happy family. We had to deal with this last year, right, with Dylan Head getting traded, I believe, for Luis Ariz when we shipped him off to Miami. So we've been in situations like this. We love Preller and, his aggressiveness, right, to, develop guys to be future Padres and help us win a World Series. So hasn't been too crazy yet, but you know what? We love it. This is why we love the things that we do, and we're excited to see what the future holds, not only for Lake Elsinore, but for San Diego as well.
Robbie, appreciate the time, man. Keep up the good work up there in Lake Elsinore, and look forward to talking to you again.
Really appreciate you guys having me on. Take care. Have a good one.
Robbie Loya, play-by-play broadcaster for the Lake Elsinore Storm, giving us our final report of the Padres minor league system. And so far, every time that we did all of these, except for, and maybe we get Tim Haggerty on sometime next week. the play-by-play broadcaster for the El Paso Chihuahuas, longtime play-by-play broadcaster for the El Paso Chihuahuas. He's taking a little bit of time off this week, as deserved, with having to go through an entire minor league baseball schedule. They don't have a lot of days off. I mean, they play 6 days in a row, and then it's a day off, and it's usually on a bus somewhere. So, very difficult job being a play-by-play broadcaster in minor league baseball. But what all of them have said, it's always like, these next 2 weeks are kind of crazy for most of our minor league affiliates because they're moving guys all the time. And the other thing that we learned this week, we learned about the craziness of the last 2 weeks, and also in reality, anytime you're in a minor league affiliate with the San Diego Padres, with AJ Preller at the helm, there could be like massive trades and moving of players a lot. I mean, I imagine the travel guys for all of these teams are probably always on edge, ready to go for these 2 weeks before the trade deadline. The other thing that was brought up by all of the broadcasters was how strong the pitching staff has been. AAA's had good bullpen help. You've seen some of them participate at the major league level. AA bullpen has been outstanding in San Antonio. Fort Wayne Tin Caps have had a great bullpen, and then Lake Elsinore has had a great starting staff with some players that have been rumored to be being sent elsewhere. Cash Mayfield, left-handed pitcher for the Lake Elsinore Storm. Boston Bateman, the 6'8", 240-pound left-hander for the Lake Elsinore Storm. Those are a couple of names: 20-year-old Cash Mayfield and a 19-year-old Boston Bateman. I mean, those are some guys in that rotation down in Single A that have done an exceptional job. And the pitching staff's been great down there. Last guy in that, some of the other guys in that rotation have also put up some pretty good numbers in the California League. But I'm telling you, I've said it before. I will continue to say it. I don't really care what MLB Pipeline says. We're going to talk about Kyler McDaniel. He redid his top 10. Now with Schoolcraft being part of the organization, or at least drafted. I don't know. Has he officially signed yet? I haven't seen any word on that.
I haven't seen anything on that either.
We would probably know if he signed. So until he signs, he's not a part of the organization yet. But where he's at in his recent rankings of the top prospects, I mean, the pitching staff's been good. But as much as I don't care about what Kyler McDaniel says, I don't care about MLB Pipeline or Baseball America. I think they all do a fine job. I care what the other organizations think of the San Diego Padres farm system. And so far, we have found many players in this organization that are having great seasons that are not even on the top 30 prospect list. That could be pieces that other teams find interesting, that other teams find valuable to their organization. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, the Padres have a really good, their first round pick is arguably one of the best picks in the draft. And they were able to grab him because he said he was going to college. But now the interesting thing is the Padres have to compete with NIL money from the University of Tennessee because Tennessee's got a lot of NIL money. Going to college is very lucrative. I mean, playing in Knoxville sounds a lot better than playing in Lake Elsinore. I can tell you that. But your first-round draft pick, kind of hard to say no to get your MLB season started, your MLB your professional career started. Thanks again to Robbie Loya. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to dive into Padres' second-half storylines. What are the biggest issues for the Padres, the biggest questions for the Padres? We'll talk about, as well, top 10 prospects for the Padres, according to Kyler McDaniel, coming next in the new lunchtime hour. Near lunchtime hour on 97 through the Fan, presented by Craft Taco. Bold flavors at 2 locations, Sorrento Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum. I've had so many people ask me, how were the tacos? Because they listen to the show. But if they listen to the show, they would know that we said the tacos were great. What am I going to say? Like, oh, they were terrible? Come on, dude. Tacos are great. John Flint wanted some tacos from Quezon.
Hold on a second.
What?
Go Aztecs in the chat just had a great idea. You
It's
asked
true.
me for a month and a half if
did.
I had the Craft Taco yet. Now I get to ask you, good sir, have you downloaded NCAA 26 yet?
I haven't.
He draws the foul.
Now there's a major difference, Go Aztecs. Craft Taco is a sponsor of the show.
That's very true.
NCAA 26 is not a sponsor. We'd
But
love
it's
to
a-
have it be a sponsor, but it's not.
But it's a free foul because you've been saying you would do it and you still haven't done it. It's been about 2 weeks now.
I haven't. I've been coaching real football instead of pretend coaching.
It is real football. All right.
Instead of pretend football. I love that for my buddies on the NCAA 26 because they're sitting there going like, I'm in a battle right now with Northwestern and the winner goes to the Big Ten. I'm winning a Big Ten championship. And I'm sitting there like actually breaking down tape and getting prepared for an actual football game.
So am I.
And I'm like, they're like, are you going to jump on? I'm like, no. What are you doing? Getting prepared for an actual football game. They're like, no, you're not. You're not locked in like we are. I'm sorry. Some of us are coaching actual football. Some of us are doing it in Fantasyland, which I enjoy the Fantasyland version of that in NCAA 26. Some of us are coaching actual football. It's a slight difference.
I haven't seen whether or not it was yet, but I tried to put Stony Brook in last year's game as a team builder. But there were certain FCS schools that you couldn't. So I don't know if the Toreros
They said
or
like, we're not a part of this.
No, I think there was some sort of licensing issue, like maybe they could be in the game later on, so we're not going to allow you to make a team builder for them.
No, I doubt like the Pioneer League is on that list.
Well, somebody try to make a USD Toreros team builder, see if they let you do it.
I should just text Anderson. Why hasn't he done that yet?
I don't know.
The SID over there. I haven't made, so I made Cathedral last year.
Yeah,
And I made some sweet uniforms that we will never adapt because we're very traditional. Which is funny because a lot of our gear, so like I convinced them to put the helmet logo on our gear because I think it looks sick. I think it's a cool logo. The generic helmet with like the whatever. But on our red stuff, we have a white helmet because the red helmet on the on the shirts and stuff would look stupid.
Worked with Big Red.
The problem is we don't have a white helmet. And I've been clamoring for a white helmet for years. We should have an alternate helmet. All these schools in San Diego have alternate helmets. We don't have an alternate helmet.
See, this is
a
where you
white
go.
helmet would be sick.
You make it in Team Builder. You
I've
go to
already
to the AD and you're like, this looks awesome.
It's not the AD.
Or
They'd be down. It's Sean. Coach Doyle does not break tradition. We're never. He said, as long as I'm the head coach, we're only going to wear the red helmet.
See, look at how cool this looks, though. Here's a visual of what it looks like on the field.
Can I pull it up
helmet.
if I built it last year?
I'm pretty sure you can.
Do I have to like log in or something?
You most likely will.
Okay. It's like, oh, get started. I don't want to. Okay. I'm going to figure that out and I'll show you the pictures. But I have like, we have gray alternate jerseys from by the way, no longer an Under Armour school. We are now a Nike school.
So do you no longer have those gray alternate jerseys?
I don't know if Nike's giving us those or not, but I haven't seen the new uniforms yet. They've gotten all the new gear, all the new like workout stuff has come in. The coaches stuff doesn't come in for a while. And it's not just a high school thing. I've noticed that it takes forever for Nike and Under Armour, all these places, to send out all of their stuff.
Well, how many places are they sending to? They got to send like actual legitimate equipment that is going to be on the field. Yeah, I could see the coach being a little bit further down on the priority
Well, I mean, they don't
list.
even get like USD baseball gets their stuff takes forever. They're like, you have to get stuff sent in on by this day, and everybody does it, and then they're still missing stuff to the season. Like our first year in our deal with Under Armour is when I was a senior, We didn't get our uniforms my senior year until like week 7. We were Under Armour, and then we didn't get any Under Armour stuff till like week 7.
Well, there you go.
That's a good cut. Yeah. Do you know how much a helmet costs? You know how much one individual helmet costs?
I do not, which is part of the reason why I'm saying you should get it.
Let me ask you, if you had to like come up with a ballpark about how much like some of these helmets cost, like the Revo Speeds,
which is the one I use all the time.
Oh yeah, the one you physically use.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Have you ever put that one on before?
No, I have not.
It's very comfortable, very soft.
I'd probably say around $400 to $500 a piece.
Yeah, it's close to $700. The Revo Speeds.
Bloody Nora.
How many kids? We got like 70 kids on our team. That's why they refurbish them and get them sent right back.
Private school, baby.
Yeah, that's every school. It's not just us. Everybody else has to do that too. The football fee for all these schools is ridiculous. So anyway, the uniforms I made, since I have to describe them because I don't remember what these passwords are and stuff. I don't remember how I logged in the first time. And, I guess I could sign it with my PlayStation account or something like that. I'll figure it out. I'll have pictures of it and we'll show you. But to me, like we have the red helmet, the red face mask, and the classic Don sticker across the lid.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. After homecoming, we have a U on one side to pay tribute to Uni. I think we wear the U too much, but I digress on that. But what I did was white helmet, not matte, shiny.
Okay, the gloss.
Red chrome face mask with the Don's logo on the side with our all-white uniforms would be awesome. We're already the evil empire to everybody in town anyway. We might as well embrace it.
That red chrome
The red
face
chrome
mask?
face mask?
Ooh.
Yes. That would be legit. So I made the team last year. And I made those. And then I made, you know what I made? I got the old U logo with the Dons across, the old Uni Dons one. And so I had the
Sure.
throwbacks like that. And I made it look like the old Commanders of the 3 stripes.
Okay.
And it was a chrome red helmet with a gold face mask. They're sweet.
That candy apple red gloss, that would also look pretty good, as August in the chat is saying.
Candy gloss helmet? Yeah, it looks like a Christmas ornament, like all of the helmets, the chrome helmets. Reminds me of the TCU chrome helmets that look like purple ornaments when they go out there and play. But anyway, I made the team last year, and then I was like, okay, I was going to make the all Dons roster.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tyler Gaffney and Demetrius Sumler, and, go through the list of all the famous or all the best Cathedral football players, whatever. And then you couldn't do it because it was NIL problems, but now you can actually do it, right? You can actually put your rosters in.
Mm-hmm.
So once I officially buy that game, I'll throw it in there.
And you'll stop getting daily fouls like I did.
I thought I made the rules in this show. Apparently I don't. I've lost the rule creation on the fouls.
Listen,
Was that voted on? Did I get
it was.
voted on that?
It was voted on by a party of one. I'm the one, you lose.
You're also the only one that has access to that button. So
I am. I'm also the one that has the access to the microphones. I'm the one that has the access to the brakes.
I do have a dump button over here.
You do. So do I.
So anyway. Insistence on attending schools with fake mascots. A Don is like a sir. It's a Spanish title. That's what it is. Anybody wants to know what a Don is? There's only a handful of them. We're the Dons, and so is USF, and I think that's the only thing that really comes to mind. I think Cathedral LA's got a sweet team name. I got to look it up to make sure it is what I thought it was. I think they're called I want to say they're like the Phantoms or something. But I got to look it up. I can't remember. They're like blue. They're purple and white. They're like the exact opposite of us. But I want to say they're like the Phantoms or something like that. I'm trying to find it. I can't find it. They just didn't they don't have a mascot name.
Now we're just ripping mascots here.
Do you want to dive into okay, Juan. Okay, buddy.
A horned frog. It's a lizard, not a frog.
Yeah, not wrong. Spits blood outside. Yes, they are the Phantoms. There it is. The Phantoms. That's a sick name for a team. The Cathedral LA Phantoms. I mean, you just pretend like your campus is haunted. Anyway, as we digress from that, do we want to talk about what happened at the Coldplay concert last night?
Sure.
Did you see that?
I
All over my social media.
I was going to
feed.
say, I think I did. What?
Do you want to explain to us what happened at the Coldplay concert last night? In fact, I just pulled up Twitter and guess what the first thing is?
I saw an video from a concert, and I don't know if it was a Coldplay concert.
It was a Coldplay concert. They accidentally exposed two people. I'm not going to say they're putting names out there, dude. That's ridiculous. I don't want to say that. I can't believe that's on my social media right now. My buddies texted me and they said, we want to know what Frank's opinion is on that.
On what?
Potentially getting exposed for cheating on somebody at a concert on a video board.
I can tell you right now, as a matter of fact.
All right.
Is there another answer?
Oh, my God. So you've seen the video.
I have. Yeah. Okay. So if that is the video, then
That's
yes, I
the
have
video.
seen it. Yes.
He's like holding this girl, and apparently she works for the company. Like he's
No,
CEO,
yeah,
and she's in HR.
Yes.
And they're at the Coldplay concert, and he's like, they're doing their thing. They're having a great time, and then they go on the video board, and there's like probably a 3 or 4 second like, oh wait a minute, that's us.
That it's
And
oh
she
god,
turns
that's
around,
us.
blocks her face. He just like sinks. He literally just goes like this. He melts and disappears. My camera didn't follow me. It would have been funnier. And then they still leave it on them. It's just, It's on them. Oh my God.
That was somebody who is not a fan of CEOs running that camera to just record that entire thing.
They don't know, dude. That's the thing. Like, it's the video board people, right? Like, they have no idea. They just go like, this is awkward. Let's keep it here. Like, what's going on here? They probably have no idea.
Exactly right.
But anyway,
TRM in the chat said it right. Cheaters get what they deserve.
Absolutely. I don't have any sympathy for him either. I find it's all over social media. Think about that too.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing that it happened inside wherever it was. Where was the Coldplay concert last night? Was it in Boston or something like that?
Believe it or not, wasn't my week to watch them.
Dude, just go on Twitter right now. It's just going to be on every single thing.
I've
found
seen
it like 15
I've seen
times.
it 5,000 times, but I don't know where the concert was.
A CEO, HR lady, they're not married. They're both married to somebody else.
Oh my God. But some of the memes though.
Oh, the memes are just insane. But here's the thing. It's one thing to be on the Coldplay concert video board exposing an affair. It's another thing to have it plastered all over social media this morning. And with no sports going on, this is the only thing that people are consuming today.
Me watching Red Zone for 7 hours. Me and my parlay that has absolutely no chance of hitting. Some of these memes are incredible of this.
I mean, you even had Shane Gillis host the ESPYs last night and say a lot of controversial jokes. And the thing that's on everybody's feed is the Coldplay concert that happened at Gillette Stadium last night.
It was in Foxborough, was the Coldplay concert.
Yeah, is it Gillette? That's awesome. I mean, it's awful, but it's also like, I mean, they're so cooked. I mean, think about that for a second. That's like Ferris Bueller's Day Off to like a whole different level.
Bro.
Anyway, my buddies wanted your take on that. What do we got on this, Frank?
No, that's you get what you deserve. Camera should have stayed on him even longer.
Play stupid
Embarrass
games.
them. Exactly.
You win stupid prizes.
100%.
They got exposed at a Coldplay concert.
I can't imagine cheating on somebody. Like if I'm that unhappy, I'm gonna break up with you. Period. Like that's like why go through all of the extra nonsense that goes with cheating?
The guy's the CEO, dude. He thinks he's invincible.
Yeah.
I mean, think about a lot of the people that do it. They think that they get to a point where they think they're invincible. How about Bobby Cressy, our organist?
Okay.
Padres organist. He did this 15 minutes ago. He tweeted out, "I also apologize to my family and coworkers for being caught in an extramarital stadium embrace, and it's him with Woods."
Oh God.
And the Padres in our suite.
I was gonna say,
It is a funny. Oh my God, the memes and the jokes about this are hilarious.
I was gonna say, what did he get caught with like a baby grand piano instead of his of his organ?
It's
like,
literally him. It's Woods giving him a hug.
Got it.
Oh man. They should have went back to him with a kiss cam, like Go Aztec said.
Yes.
I mean, how many people in that area knew that was the case?
She was choking. Everyone's blowing this out of proportion. There it is.
Oh, God, Captain. Leave it to Captain. It's literally all over my feed. It's this and a couple of SB things. But I've seen this probably almost 100 times just today from the work Twitter account. Oh, there it is again.
From the station Twitter.
From the station Twitter account. So there it is again.
Station Twitter account is...
Oh, there it is again. Okay. Enough of this. Just wanted your thoughts. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Padres second half storylines when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. All right, this is like the last thing I want to say about this. The latest update was the guy in this like Coldplay scandal. I feel bad for Coldplay. They're kind of roped into this, but you know what? There's no such thing as bad pub. Everybody's talking about Coldplay right now.
Bad for Coldplay.
Poor Chris Martin. Guy's just trying to pitch for whatever team he's on right now.
Words that have never been said ever.
What team is Chris Martin on right now?
He's
on 18. I can't. He's no longer the Dodgers. Is he on the Rangers?
It's on that.
Was he on the Rangers?
I don't know.
They were just in town. I think he's on the Rangers. Poor guy's trying to pitch for the Rangers and sing concerts, and now he's getting part of this scandal.
He is on the Rangers. Yes.
Anyway, that guy. Since we don't want to, this is you don't want to talk too much about this. It turns into slander and everything. That guy has now dropped. His wife has now dropped his last name from her social media accounts.
Uh-oh.
Not great. Last thing on this matter. Go ahead. I want to know. I agree with Nicole Arbach. I want to know what she knows. What does this girl know? She knew about it. That is her reaction. That is her reaction to them being on the video board. The friend next to the couple. That was it. What does she know? I need a journalist out there in Boston. We got to figure out the story here. That's a good conspiracy there from Go Aztecs. Maybe she told the video board.
That would be fantastic.
I mean, she's just like, oh my God. Man. Corporate America,
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing.
At least we'll never be a part of it. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
Don't put some of the chat on the that's a foul.
Really? You thought I was going to put some of the chat on here after this?
Foul in the chat. Foul in the chat.
5 more of those and we get an Eric Hosmer cameo.
Let's transition back to the Padres.
Keep fouling, chat.
Man, it's just all over my social media feed. San Diego FC tweeted out what? Maybe that's about WUT. Maybe that's about the Coldplay thing last night.
We got Bill Shaikin coming up next segment.
That's right. Before we get to Bill Shaikin, let's get to the Padres second half storylines. Padres reached the 2025 All-Star break at 52-44, outperforming last year's record. At this point, despite offensive struggles, started hot, hit a slump, closed the first half with promise. They lead MLB in shutouts and sent 5 All-Stars, including a record 3 relievers, to the All-Star game. Still, offense has been inconsistent and questions remain about their health and depth heading into the second half. Storylines, Michael King and Yu Darvish. They're wild cards, obviously, for the rotation. What are you going to get out of Michael King with a nerve issue? What is Yu Darvish going to be able to bring as he battles with this elbow issue and shows signs of rust? Can he keep up in the second half now starting every 5th day? AJ Preller could target Red Sox outfielder Jarren Duran and Braves catcher Sean Murphy, but budget and farm depth might be concerns. We don't know how much money the Padres can spend. This is the first year of John Seidler being the chairman of the Padres. How much money is he willing to spend at the trade deadline? The bullpen is elite, but heavily used, may not sustain its dominance without reinforcements. Sluggers like Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson Merrill, Manny Machado must produce if the team is to contend seriously. Preller's aggressive, unpredictable trade history could shake things up before July 31st. That's all from Dennis Lin of The Athletic talking about the storylines for the second half. Let's talk about some of those things. Some questions that kind of pop up already. And one of these questions was asked on the roundtable, and I ask it again about the deadline. Should AJ Preller go all in? Now, Ben said that all in would be trading Ethan Salas, trading Leo DeVries, not caring about anything in the farms. Is like they're all in. That would be all in. You're putting all your chips in one basket. I don't think they're at an all in level. The next day was kind of like a conservative approach. You still want to add, but maybe add a little bit on the margins a little bit, which I think is more likely. The third is maybe a little buy, maybe a little sell. Do you give up something on your major league club in order to get something in return? Is it a Dylan Cease? Is it a Robert Suarez? Is it a 3-team trade? And then number 4, do you kind of not do anything at all? Or maybe you start selling for the future. I don't think it's really number 4. I don't think it's number 1 either. I don't think they're trading Leo. And I don't think they're trading Ethan either. I think those guys will remain in the Padres organization post-trade deadline. I think it's somewhere between 2 and 3. I think the Padres could theoretically give up Robert Suarez. I think they could. I think they could totally do that. Should they do that? And will they do that? Are two totally different things. I think they could do that. I think out of all the players on the Major League roster that are available to trade and are going to get you something back and you're okay with trading, I think there's really only one. And I do think it's Robert Suarez. I think it's the only piece on the Major League roster that is worth trading where you get value back by having a team that is competing, needing a closer, getting another bullpen arm, and you get something back in return. I think you could trade Dylan Cease. I don't think you're going to get a lot for him. I think it's still better for him to log innings for you on the Major League club than it is for him to go somewhere else and get prospects back. I don't think you're going to get that great of prospects anyway because of the season that he has had. They're going to use that as leverage against you in terms of negotiations. So I could see a little bit of 2, a little bit of 3 in the options. I said it to start the show. My prediction is they're going to go get 2 bats and they're going to get a bullpen arm. And I think they can do that without trading DeVries and without getting Ethan Salas involved. I think they could do that. That's kind of our second half predictions. Should A.J. Preller be all in? If it involves trading Leo DeVries and Ethan Salas, absolutely not. But they definitely need to be buyers. There's a couple other questions that come up from the Padres second half storylines. We're going to get to those in the 1 o'clock hour. But coming up next, Bill Shaikin of the LA Times. What was said at the All-Star break that is making things a little grim for the CBA? We'll discuss that with Bill Shaikin when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show, standing as number 1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This new lunchtime hour is brought to you by the Craft Taco, bold flavors at 2 locations in Serrano Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum.
Has it been the noon lunchtime hour? Because it's felt more like the TMZ hour.
It's been the TMZ hour. And to save us from the TMZ hour, to stop talking about the Coldplay concert last night, to talk baseball and intelligent baseball, we brought in one of our favorite baseball guests from the Los Angeles Times in Bill Shaikin, who just came back from the All-Star break and a lot of different business things going on behind the scenes that he was able to cover for the LA Times and tweet out on social media. Bill Shaikin joins us on the Braden Surprenant Show. Bill, what's going on?
Everything's good, but don't let me distract you about the Coldplay concert. That's huge.
It was, pretty big news. I don't know, Bill. Our entire social media feeds have been filled with what happened at the Coldplay concert at Gillette last night. I don't know if you have any reports on that or anything.
I'm just seeing the same social media feeds you are, so I guess it's a good thing there's no baseball today because I don't know if I'd be able to find out what's going on.
That's right. Unfortunately for them, there's no sports going on right now. It's the dead period. So they picked the wrong night to decide to do those things at a Coldplay concert. But let's talk about a lot of the meetings and everything that's happened in the All-Star game. Aside from the game, you were tweeting out different quotes from Tony Clark, from Rob Manfred. Obviously, a big CBA is coming up at the end of the 2026 season. Every time baseball has a major event where everybody's there, you get a lot of information from these different outlets. So just for people that, might have missed some of this news, you were tweeting about it. A lot of its CBA talk has to do about a salary cap. What can you tell us about what Rob Manfred might be pushing with a salary cap and what Tony Clark and the Players Association is fighting back on in this probably highly debated part of the CBA, the next one that will happen at the end of the 2026 season?
So the last time that Major League Baseball lost actual games, not spring training games, but actual regular season games because of a work stoppage was in 1994 and 95 when the players went on strike because the owner said, we don't want to do a deal without a salary cap. Eventually, the players came back. The owner settled for a deal that did not include a salary cap. And ever since then, that's sort of the holy grail for the owners who look at every other major league that has a salary cap and wonder why they can't get one themselves. The owners, and we're a year and a half out now, so things could change. They seem united enough to want a salary cap. And what I mean is the interests of, say, the Dodgers are going to be different than the interests of, say, the Milwaukee Brewers, the market sizes, the revenue, all that. But for the most part, the owners seem to want to go at least give a good shot at getting a salary cap. The players still don't want it. And if those positions become actual negotiating offers, I think we're going to have a 2027 season in jeopardy.
We're talking with Bill Shaikin, LA Times writer, who covers baseball and business for the LA Times. Obviously, a salary cap is part of the equation. Have they had any conversations about a salary floor and a salary cap? Is it just the cap? How much can you tell us about a salary floor as well?
In the last round of labor talks, the owners actually did propose a salary cap and a salary floor. And the owners know that a salary cap would never fly without a salary floor because that would be part of your pitch to the players. You know, if you look over the past, say, 10 to 20 years with the rise of analytics, a lot of teams have figured out if we stop paying players for what they did and we pay players based on what we think they're going to do going forward, we don't need to play the 34-year-old guy and pay him $5 million when we got a guy in our farm system who might do just as well, and he's going to make $700,000. So the argument for a floor would be, hey, all those guys that would have got those $5 million jobs to be backups, you can get some of those guys jobs again. That's the pitch to the mass of the Players Association. It is certainly not the pitch to every player who thinks, if I strike it rich in free agency, am I going to be able to get as much money as I can in the open market?
Couple other things with just the CBA and the upcoming, we're still a year and a half away, as you mentioned. You know, obviously from the owner standpoint, you know, with the Dodgers spending a lot of money and a lot of even wealthier teams being upset with the deferrals and everything that the Dodgers are doing that are by the rules that want a salary cap, we know what the owners really want. You know, what is the leverage the players have in terms of like what they are looking for? Because usually how these work out, the owners will give something up in order to get something in return and vice versa. Have the players leaked out anything that they're looking for in the next labor agreement, whether it be more days off, more, you know, revenue for the playoffs? I mean, what have the players been focused on for what they want in the next CBA?
Well, what the owners are going to tell people if they decide to push for a salary cap is this is about competitive balance. And we hear you fans. We hear the fans that are frustrated in small markets. We hear the fans that go, well, you know, Mark Walter doesn't own my team, and Stevie Cohen, you know, insanely rich hedge fund guy, doesn't own my team. So buy my team. What are they going to do? The owners want this because of cost certainty. Because if a salary cap guaranteed competitive balance, the Sacramento Kings would have been in the playoffs more than once in the past 3 decades. I mean, it's not about competitive balance. But if it's going to be waged as an issue of competitive balance, then the players would say, is this really the only way we can address it? And the issue is, if teams are not spending, yes, the salary floor would help address that. But what else could help address that? So here's an example. Right now, if you spend too much money, if you spend past a certain threshold, they call it a luxury tax, right?
Correct.
And teams are penalized. So the Dodgers paid about $100 million last year, above and beyond their payroll, to get that World Series championship team. Okay. And a lot of teams will pay a lot of money and not get a championship team out of that. What about if you did that on the other end of the scale? What if you said, you don't need a cap or a floor, but maybe you have threshold at the bottom. And if your team doesn't spend to a certain level on players, you get penalized. Maybe it's money, which in a sense, you might as well then just go ahead and spend to the floor. Maybe it's draft picks. Maybe it's something else. Is a salary cap the only way to get at this? And I think that's where the rubber's going to hit the road.
It's going to be very interesting to see in the next CBA. Obviously, when you talk salary cap, players don't like that, and the players have a really good players association, and fans at the end don't want to lose. And good thing we don't have to deal with this offseason. We still got another season of play before that. We're talking with Bill Shaikin, LA Times writer who covers baseball and business for the LA Times. He's been a California Sports Writer of the Year honoree in the past. He does a really good job. We're talking with him right now on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Let's talk about this season in particular. Overall, like what it was Major League Baseball as they try to navigate all-star games. All the leagues are trying to navigate all-star games. What was the reception of the All-Star game? Was Major League Baseball pleased with what they got out of the All-Star game in Atlanta?
I think that would have been a very different question if Edwin Diaz had gotten the last out in the 9th inning.
Yes.
But he didn't until the American League had tied it. And then all of a sudden we have magical swing-off, shootout, mini home run derby, whatever you want to call it. And everybody's talking about that after the game. That's what you want. You want your sport in the national conversation. I think the problem is you can't count on a tie score every year. So how do you revitalize the game to where it's still a competitive must-watch thing? Because like the NFL totally gave up on that. They just run skills competitions and flag football and whatever. They don't care. They're the NFL. They'll be just fine. The NBA is just a dunk fest. Nobody plays defense. It's mostly about a week of parties for the players. So in baseball, there's some semblance of this. You have, actual pitchers throwing actual pitches that break and go 100 miles an hour and all that. But are you getting the best players? And this year, after the All-Star rosters were announced, 1 out of 4 players didn't make it to the game. They backed out for whatever reason it turned out to be. And it was interesting listening to Clayton Kershaw this year because he was honored with the pick to the game, and he certainly played in his share of games. And you could see in his face how important it was to him. And understandably, pitchers throw harder than ever now, and they need time to recover. And maybe the break is much more important than coming to the All-Star game. But if you're a fan, that's not what you want to see. You want to see the best players. So I think one thing they ought to take a look at, the All-Star game should not be wedded to a Tuesday night. There's no reason for that. So if you moved everything back a day, you took the Futures game, which is a minor league All-Star game designed to showcase prospects for fans, and instead of playing it Sunday against the whole slate of Major League Baseball, you play it Monday when people can actually watch it because there are no Major League games. Then you slide the Home Run Derby to Tuesday, you slide the All-Star game to Wednesday, and all of a sudden there's no reason for a guy who pitched Saturday not to be able to come in and throw an inning on Wednesday.
That was all good thoughts and ideas. The other thing, too, Bill, is something that you had in an article for the LA Times about, well, what about the Olympics? And now all of a sudden Major League Baseball is intrigued of potentially letting their players play in the Olympics. Now, the Olympics in 2028 being in Los Angeles probably make that a lot easier to accomplish. We know a little bit about the World Baseball Classic. Major League Baseball has had some success in recent years with that. What's the latest on Major League Baseball wanting to be involved with the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles? And do you think, on top of that, kind of a follow-up question before you answer, with the players really wanting to represent their country a lot, have the owners use that as leverage at all in the new CBA?
Well, the first thing is that the owners have to decide if they want to be in the Olympics or not, and they have not gotten to that point yet. It's kind of a silly discussion to me. You can't, on one hand, say, hey, everybody, look how great the World Baseball Classic is, and look how spirited it is, and how enthusiastic and how competitive when players represent their countries in a short event. And that's okay for the World Baseball Classic. But when they would do the exact same thing in the Olympics, you know what? Maybe not. So I think they get it done. I think there's a lot of discussion about how they would get it done. The logical way that the Olympic people thought it should get done is, hey, what if you skip the All-Star game for a year? Olympic baseball is only going to be 6 days. You're basically swapping All-Star week for Olympic week. And in fact, the Olympic organizers went out of their way to make sure that baseball was going to be played right at the beginning of the 28 Olympics, so it would come close to where the All-Star game actually is in the baseball calendar. They thought, we'll make it easy. Major League Baseball does not want to give up the All-Star game and, of course, the money that goes with it. So Rob Manfred was very nonspecific the other day, except he said to me specifically, we are not giving up the All-Star game. So they're trying to work on a schedule where they could play the All-Star game and then play the Olympics and maybe add another week to the season. And I think that will be what happens in the end. I don't think, though, that we've needed to go through this issue of, well, should Major League Baseball do it or not? Like, if it's international exposure and growth of the sport is important to you, which you say it is, this is a no-brainer.
Last thing for you, Bill, obviously getting ready for the second half of the season. We have the trade deadline approaching, which will be at the end of the month. A lot of teams competitive in the National League West. As a guy out on the West Coast, see a lot of those teams a little bit more than the other teams in Major League Baseball. Any latest updates on what the Dodgers, Padres, Giants might be doing around the trade deadline?
It's hard to imagine the Giants making a bigger move than trading for Rafael Devers. I think they hope that he will start actually hitting for them, which he has not done yet. The Padres obviously are going to want to take a look at, if Darvish is better than he has been in his first couple starts, how close is Michael King? Dodgers in the same boat with, Tyler Glasnow's come back. Is he going to look good leading up to the deadline? Can they get Snell back in time? They think they can. Both teams, I think, another bullpen arm wouldn't hurt. Dodgers more so than the Padres. And of course, both teams have, shall we say, deficiencies in left field. The Dodgers seem fine with theirs. They think they have depth. They think Hassan Kim gives them flexibility to move guys around. I'm sure you guys have been talking more than we have here in LA. The Padres have had a weak spot in left field all year. I wouldn't be surprised to see AJ Preller address that as well as pitching.
Bill, appreciate the time as always. Look forward to talking to you again.
All right, take care.
Shaikin, LA Times writer, California Sports Writer of the Year honoree, baseball and business writer for the LA Times. Always a wealth of knowledge. Wanted to talk some business with him. I mean, he's a business writer and a baseball writer. And we got some major business decisions happening in Major League Baseball over the next couple of years. All right, Frank, I'll bring you in. Well, let's break this down a little bit. What he told us about the Olympics and the All-Star game, it's like when he was talking about the World Baseball Classic, it's, or I'm going to cut my nose off to spite my face.
Yeah, no, we both looked at each other and we're like, that's a really good point. You can't promote the World Baseball Classic and trying to promote the game around the world and then deny the Olympics. That's talking out of both sides of your mouth at that point. And honestly, of course you want the revenue from the All-Star game and from what all of that brings, but really, how is that going to compare to what you could possibly get because of during and after the Olympics?
I think it's a sacrifice for 1 year revenue of an All-Star game.
Exactly. For
what could be way more eyeballs in the future. Or you know what? Or a second half where people are paying attention. Like I'm gonna use the NHL for an example. So I remember the exact year. When was like Team USA in Canada? Was it 2012? It was sometime around when I was in high school.
Oh, what was it? You talking about the?
It was the Olympics. The NHL broke for 3 weeks for the Olympics.
Yeah,
this is like the first time that they had done it in a long time. And then they hadn't done it since, right? And then
it's the goal on Ryan Miller, I think you're talking about.
But I was in high school, so that's either I was in high school from fall of 2009 to spring of 2013. So whatever Winter Olympics fell during that time frame, Team USA played Canada in the final. And I remember watching that final going, and I don't have a hockey team, right? This is pre-goals in San Diego in terms of like the recent AHL goals. I don't even think San Diego had hockey at that point. It was one of the years that we didn't have a hockey team.
It's 2010.
The 2010 Winter Olympics?
Yes, 2010.
So the 2010 Winter Olympics when Team Canada beat Team USA, right, in the final?
Yes, that was Sidney
Crosby
Crosby scored an overtime goal on Ryan Miller, yeah.
So anyway, I remember watching that, and I had never been really into hockey. I'm from Southern California. There's not a lot of hockey here. That being said, I knew two kids in Scripps Ranch that played hockey. They both made the NHL. One of them still in the NHL. He's the starting goalie for the Vancouver Canucks. Named Thatcher Demko. I played Little League Baseball with Thatcher Demko.
Wow.
So anyway.
Way to tell me now. We can get him.
Well, we've tried to get him on before, but the Vancouver Canucks PR staff is a gigantic pain in you-know-what. So good luck.
Good job, Canada.
You could do that. So anyway, I remember watching that final. And I've never watched hockey before. I've tried to get into it. I was into the game. I was like, this is fun and exciting. Mm-hmm. You're picking up what icing is and everything like that. And I was like, I enjoy this. I want to watch more hockey. What's the closest team? That's not Los Angeles. It's the Anaheim Ducks. I'm going to watch the Anaheim Ducks. And guess what? At the time, they were playing on Fox Sports San Diego, whatever deal it was. Yeah. So we had access to it. So I became an Anaheim Ducks fan. I had no interest in hockey. I watched the Olympics, Team USA versus Canada, and all of a sudden I'm locked in on hockey now. And I'm still a Ducks fan to this day. I'm probably not as a religious Ducks fan as a lot of other people are. We have the Goals now in town, which is also great. It's an affiliate of the Anaheim Ducks. I still follow the Anaheim Ducks as much as I can. And I watched a handful of Ducks games last year. I watched them through high school where they were actually made it to the Western Conference Final against the Blackhawks.
Ducks Islanders in March, first week of March.
Why do you know that already?
Show field trip.
Okay. So anyway, I got into it. So think about that for a second. If you're Major League Baseball. So hockey sacrifice. I wouldn't have watched hockey that year at all if it wasn't for the Olympics. I wouldn't have cared. I wouldn't have cared at all. But they got me to watch, somebody that's on the fence. So if baseball takes off a week, because it's only 6 days, the Olympics get the baseball tournament done in 6 days. It's the same as the All-Star break, relatively. You take the same amount of week off, you forfeit the All-Star game, and guess what? You probably get a handful of new fans that are now watching because they're watching the Olympics and they're watching high-level baseball.
Worldwide recognition.
Yes.
It's not the World Baseball Classic where it's only being broadcast and the countries participating. The Olympics is being broadcasted all
everywhere
over the world.
And you're seeing the best of the best participate in it instead of the World Baseball Classic, where you're seeing only the guys that want to do it because they got to gear up for the season. And all these pitchers are ready to go. They've been pitching for the whole season. On top of the fact that now in the Olympics, it's not you're watching a bunch of college and high school kids.
Yep.
College and minor league guys. I think it's worth it. I think you could grow some fans doing that.
100%.
Midday Sports Standoff when we come back. Need a contestant. 833-288-1973. 833-288-1973. San Diego's number sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I can't stop laughing. Frank and I probably just LOL for like 5 minutes during the break. Because the Coldplay concert memes are just, they're hitting every single time. I had 25 new text messages from my buddy's group chat. 25 new text messages. I'm in tears with what they've come up with on the Coldplay concert. Bill Shaikin was locked in on the Coldplay concert scandal from last night.
Which is hilarious because we had said just before we came on that there's no way he would be the person to ask about this.
I wasn't going to ask about it.
And that Bernie Wilson would have been, but we was on yesterday.
Bill was on it. He's like, there's no baseball. What else? How else would I try to figure out what this is all about? It's so funny. It's just some of the highlights on this. One of them was like, to be honest with you, bottom line though, anyone that's paying to see Coldplay, you get what you deserve. Buying that ticket already shows poor judgment. To which one of my friends sent a meme from Kirk Cousins on quarterback.
Yes.
The clip from practice where he goes, I like Coldplay. One of the best concerts I've ever been to was Coldplay.
Oh, gosh.
And my friend's like, man, if you want to see, he's like, you're going to get caught at a Coldplay concert. If you go to Nickelback, that's probably a dime a dozen out there of those things happening.
What is?
I'm screaming.
What is my OTL team name going to be next year? You were saying?
Well, they found a shirt.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
They found a T-shirt online.
This thing happened 12 hours ago, and we already have T-shirts.
It's created by AI, which has led to our new OTL team name. Hopefully, Tom Doyle's listening. Hopefully, it's going to be out of touch by the time next OTL happens.
No, there are some things that
we're still old and still good.
Well, I mean, and of course, it's not just because we're not playing in the championship doesn't mean we have to play OTL in July.
That's true.
As we saw, there are other
play in August. I took my side piece to the Coldplay concert and it ruined my life. Presented by the Braden Surprenant Show. That is pushing the PG-13 limit that I have for anybody that's going to use our show name on the team. Cheating at Coldplay, sponsored by the Braden Surprenant Show. Up next against I took my side piece to the Coldplay concert. It ruined my life on court 14. I hope people driving around are dying laughing as much as I am. That is the funniest thing I have seen. I took my side piece to the Coldplay concert, ruined my life. You're up on court 14.
Oh my god!
And the best part, like the guy at OnBack is just like this old guy just saying all this stuff. I can't stop, won't stop on the Coldplay scandal. I mean, it's just I'm dying, dude. It's so funny. That's just the memes are all over the place. Cheating at Coldplay, sponsored by the Braden Surprenant Show. You're taking on I took my side piece to the Coldplay concert, ruined my life. You're up on court 31. Up next on court 15. It's better to take your side piece to Nickelback. Oh, man. It's just, great. Coldplay exposing cheaters talk brought to you by the Craft Taco. You're up on court 16. You think Eddie from Craft Taco would sponsor some of these team names for OTL next year?
Oh, it's all throwing radio, baby. Let's go.
What a gold mine. What a gold mine we've been sent.
It's
the talk
gift,
of
the gift
radio
that keeps
everywhere.
on giving.
My face hurts from laughing so hard. Let's get serious and get to the salary cap. One of my friends texted me. He's like, "I'm not laughing. I don't know what's so funny about this. Come on, man. If you went down to OTL, you would know." Okay, let's talk about the salary cap aspect of what Bill Shaikin said on last segment. In terms of like competitiveness, right? So basically what Bill Shaikin said, this is one of the first times the owners are in agreement of what they want to get accomplished in the next CBA, which is a salary cap. And in order to get something like that, again, with a lot of these decisions that are made in these negotiations, like the owners got to be tight and on the same page because the players are tight and on the same page, usually more times than not. And I think all the owners right now are well enough, together that they're going to stay firm to wanting a salary cap. I think a salary floor is intriguing if you are the players. And I do think that brings some competitiveness to it. So what Frank did is he threw out, again, you don't have to have a crazy number for your salary floor or your salary ceiling, salary cap, I should say. You could put it together with simple things. And the other thing, too, is I don't like the way the luxury tax barely goes up in value over the next, 5 years, whatever it was on the CBA. Have it vary based on the revenue. The owners don't want to open up the revenue. See, that's a different thing that the players could do on their sides. Like, we're willing to open up the revenue in order to get salary cap, salary floor. There's got to be some compromise here. That's how deals get done. So Frank put together a salary cap of $200 million and a salary floor of $100 million. Adam Paul says salary cap of $500 million and a floor of $250 million. That is insane.
That's mental.
Players might be super excited about that, though. But that is mental. So if you were to incorporate,
by the way, you were talking about seeing revenue. There's only one team that has to report revenue, and that is the Atlanta Braves because they are publicly owned. Every other team is privately, so they don't have to show their books. They don't have to show their revenue.
$200 million for a salary cap. $100 million for a salary floor. I think that's fair overall. Now, if you were to implement that right now, if you had to take a guess, how many teams are not in compliance with that? How many teams would you guess? I'll give you time in the YouTube chat to guess. If you want to tweet at me, tweet at me. At @B_SURP. At BSIR. $200 million salary cap, $100 million salary floor. How many teams are not in compliance with this? At the cap and at the floor. From a cap perspective, there's only 4 teams that are not in compliance with this. So it's not like you're really setting that low of a bar for a cap. There's only 4 teams that are not in compliance with the salary cap of $200 million. Can you guess the teams? I don't think it'd be that crazy to guess the teams. The New York Mets, the Philadelphia Phillies, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the New York Yankees. Those are the only 4 teams that would have to theoretically cut their spending. Now, some of those teams might be well over the $200 million cap, but there's only 4 teams that are in violation of a $200 million salary cap. There are 11 teams that don't comply with the salary floor. And I think $100 million on the salary floor is definitely a good starting point if you're the Players Association. I mean, think about that. 11 teams would have to get into compliance with the salary floor. The Padres right now are right in the middle. They sit at $169 million. Where'd you get the numbers from? Spot Track?
Yes.
Spot Track is good if you want to take another look. Like Fangraphs has it as well. They have luxury tax payroll and they have regular payroll, right? You start looking at some of these teams. I mean, 11 teams out of compliance. Those 11 teams are going to have to start spending money if you implement this, right? And they're going to start spending a lot of money. Those 11 teams that are not in compliance with the salary floor, if established at $100 million, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Colorado, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Chicago, White Sox, Tampa, Oakland, Washington, and Miami. Let's take a look at some of these. If you look at the Oakland A's, they are spending currently $78 million. They'd have to go get another $22 million on the books. That's a pretty big name that they could sign, or a couple other players at $22 million. Kansas City, according to Fangraphs, they are actually in compliance. Let's check out Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's like one of the biggest offenders because they just keep the revenue sharing. Pittsburgh spending $89 million. They'd have to spend another $11 million to get over the payroll. Tampa Bay spending $91 million, or $9 million away. I mean, a lot of these teams are pretty close. That's why the whole $500 million for a salary cap is super high. I mean, if you want everybody to be over 250, I don't think there's anybody in compliance with being over 250 except for maybe the Mets. The players are still going to get their money. They're still going to get paid for what they're worth. But to me, if the owners want a salary cap, they have to put in a salary floor. A $250 million salary floor would just be, it'd be way too high. I feel like $100 million is fine, and I think if you continually move it based on revenue, it would encourage a lot of these teams to go out there and spend. Start spreading the talent around a little bit. The money that a lot of these teams make, I mean, if you heard the numbers, like they make a lot of money on ticket sales and everything like that. Concessions makes a ton. I remember when I was at Cathedral, Scott Marshall, who used to work for the Padres, he now runs his own business or whatever. They kind of build out, what they do is they build out meeting areas and stuff, like those, like you see like the Jack Deck, or like anytime you see like a Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch bar at a place, or Anheuser-Busch company bar or hangout spot at a stadium, like they design them and build them and stuff like that. That's what he does now. But before, he was in charge of getting food into the ballpark. I mean, it cost them like 78 cents. I'm trying to remember from career day, when he came to career day. It cost him like 78 cents for like a souvenir soda. That's out the door price. That's including the cup, the souvenir cup, and the soda. It cost him 78 cents. They sell that for like $10, $15, whatever it is. They're making so much money on that particular stuff. Now, their expenses are high too. So it's not revenue. Profit. It's just revenue. They make a lot in the concessions, especially like the beer and everything like that. He said one of the and that was at the time of, it was like 2012. He said like one weekend of just soda sales could like help fund a NFL stadium. That was back when the Chargers were thinking about an NFL stadium. So they're making tons of money on that stuff. But the thing that really upsets a lot of the players is teams like the Pittsburgh Pirates, who get money sent to them in terms of the revenue share on the luxury tax payments, and then they just pocket it instead of putting it into their roster, which a salary floor would make them do. It's an interesting topic of conversation, to say the least. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to go back to some of the storylines that are facing the Padres in the second half, and maybe a little bit of a trade deadline preview when we come back, plus San Diego State football. At the Mountain West Media Days, they had a couple players placed on the 2025 preseason All-Mountain West team. We'll give you a quick preview, not a full in-depth one, but a quick preview of how Aztec football will be in the fall as we continue on the Braden Surprenant Show in the final hour before Gwynn and Chris take over for us on San Diego Summer Sports Station 97 through the Fan.
And I'm Kyle Lobe. We're the founders of GL Pools, San Diego's largest family-owned pool service and repair company.
We're grateful to have helped thousands of San Diegans keep their pools crystal clear since 2006, and we'd love to help you too.
Call GL Pools today and mention radio, and we will give you 1 free month of pool service so you can experience what pool service should be, with no contracts, no commitments.
You've worked hard for your backyard, and so will we. Visit glpools.com today and get back to enjoying your pool. That's glpools.com.
Hey, it's Ben Higgins here to talk about a scary word, probate. That's what happens when you pass away without leaving a plan and the state decides how to handle your assets, tying everything up for months or longer in an
I thought we were done with this. Frank playing Coldplay, Adventure for a Lifetime.
Which is what those two are on right now. An adventure of a lifetime.
Let us be on an adventure of a lifetime. When it comes to the show today on Coldplay. I was listening, I'm like, this isn't one of our songs. I don't think we have any Coldplay songs. Guess who's adding a bunch of Coldplay songs now?
No.
Bunch of Coldplay songs to the rejoin music.
The fact that
added to the list.
I did not know what that song was. Hearing that right then was the first time I heard it.
You've never heard that song before?
Nope. I saw Coldplay. I saw a funny title that related to the situation and played it.
I know. You should start adding some of these songs then. I've heard that at the ballpark probably thousands of times.
YouTube is good for that. I don't need to add to it.
So funny. When you got none of the 4 major sports leagues going on, and your MLS team lost last night.
In a very uncharacteristic way, too, against a bad team.
Coldplay and concerts in Boston apparently take over the airwaves.
As you do.
And there it is again. 35 million views in 8 hours. Wow. That is wild. Is this the original one? It might be the original one. 35 million views. The secondary one's got 80 million views. I mean, I think everybody in America has seen this guy's video.
This is probably the most play that Coldplay has ever had in such a short amount of time.
It probably is. I mean, you got famous people tweeting about it and stuff. That's hilarious. All right. Kylie McDaniel has updated the Padres' top 10 prospects for July. We'll take any guesses who number 1 is.
Leo DeVries.
Yes, Leo DeVries.
Boom.
Want to guess number 2?
Ethan Sauce.
Yeah, that's a pretty good guess.
Boom. Let's go.
How about number 3?
Got
him.
Mayfield? Cash Mayfield?
No. Where's the X? There you go. That'd be Cruz Schoolcraft.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a 96 overall on MLB The Show. I know that.
That's some good trade bait right there for you. 96 overall? Wow, this guy's a stud.
A Diamond Dynasty card came out, and he's rolling now.
How about the Padres having 2 of their top 5 prospects, 6'8", 200-something pound left-handed pitchers? That's pretty insane.
Grow on trees, don't they?
Now, apparently they do. When I saw the Cruz Schoolcraft highlights, I'm like, where did they find a human being this big at his age, at like 18? And then you go like, oh, look, Boston Bateman's 19. He's 6'8", 240.
They went to the...
Also a left-hander.
They went to the tall high school kid tree.
There's a lot of those, I'll tell you that. Yeah. Cruz Schoolcraft comes in number 3. Cash Mayfield 4.
Oh, I was close.
You were close. You know what? He was 3.
You made
4.
it.
He dropped one spot.
You made it sound like he was in like 8th or 9th.
I just said he was not 3rd. Boston Bateman jumped up from 6 to 5. Cobb Hightower's dropped down to 6th. Shortstop prospect for the Padres in Lake Elsinore.
Trade him.
Cale Fountain, first baseman. 3rd baseman, 1st baseman, whatever you want to go with. 19-year-old, 6'5", 225 Lake Elsinore guy. 7th on the list, followed by Humberto Cruz, who dropped from 4 down to 8. Brian Balzer is now number 9 right-handed pitcher. And David Coronel, a shortstop for the Padres, who is listed as 22nd on the top 30 prospects, is now in the top 10. According to Kylie McDaniel.
It's a nice little bump.
But he's dropped from 9 to 10 in Kylie McDaniel's rankings. So I guess he's jumped up before. Because, the MLB.com, MLB Pipeline doesn't update their prospects. They do it like twice a year.
Mm.
But that's where David Coronel is. He's playing rookie ball.
And speaking of like all the minor league guys that we've talked about over the course of the week, We're going to have a big compilation of all of those interviews, including Braden's 3-minute synopsis of the AAA team, because Haggerty was on vacation this week. That'll be going up on Spotify after the show. We're also going to put it up on the 97.3 The Fan website too. So if you want to get your full breakdown on everything minor leagues all in one place from this week, it'll be on the it'll be on Spotify. It'll be on the podcast forum. It'll also be on the website as well after the show.
Here's what Kylie McDaniel had to say, because the July rankings plays into the trade deadline. This is what quote from Kylie McDaniel's thing today, and then he ranked every organization's top 10. Leo DeVries is definitely off limits for potential deadline deals, and I think Ethan Salas' value is down to where it wouldn't be smart to trade him. So anyone below Schoolcraft who can't be traded until the winter would seem to be on the table for the right player. Where they stand entering trade season, 2025 draft pick Ty Harvey and Bradley Rodriguez were two of the late cuts to the top 10. With two full draft classes since the Padres cleared out their farm system, depth in deals for major leaguers, there are now some interesting players here who could be part of a playoff team one day. That doesn't sound like an overall evaluation like the Padres farm system sucks. What says you on that, Frank? That sounds like it's pretty decent.
Yeah, it sounds solid. I mean, what do we expect out of AJ Preller at this point? He completely wipes it out, and then just as quickly as he wipes it out, he rebuilds it.
I think Kevin Acee reported this morning that there were 12 All-Stars that were part of the Padres organization at one time.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about guys that the Padres couldn't even, like Tyler McGill. It's not, they didn't trade him away. He got picked up on a Rule 5 draft. They couldn't protect him. Now, the mistake would be they protected Jorge Oña instead.
Well, look, minor details here.
But, he's one of the guys on that list. 12 All-Stars that have been part of the organizations at one point or another. That's everything you need to know about AJ Preller and his talent finding. Their finding of players, their drafting of players, their acquiring of players is elite. Their development, that remains to be seen. But they acquire talent, and the Padres acquire a lot of talent. And I would not be surprised if they ship off some names that you don't even know who they are. I think based on what Kylie McDaniel has put out in his top 10, based on what all the broadcasters of these minor league teams have told us this week, based on what we have learned from other people that have reported on this situation and from other teams, it sounds like this Padres farm system is a lot better than what MLB Pipeline and all the other rankings are giving it credit for, which means I disagree with some people that go like they have nothing left to trade. They obviously have some stuff to trade. They have some players to trade. And remember, not all these guys can play the same spots. I mean, eventually it gets backlogged. Look at the Baltimore Orioles. I'm going to be intrigued by this trade deadline. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Marcus in Menifee wants to weigh in. Marcus, long time no talk. What's going on, man?
Hey, guys. Yeah, it's been a minute. Been kind of idle. Also been on vacation for a few weeks.
Nice. Where'd you go?
So,
what do we got?
Oh, been some staycationing. I'm actually taking another week off next week, so how about that?
You know what? Anybody mind? Anybody mind?
Absolutely not. Stay home, watch some baseball. But I do actually need a recommendation. I'm going to the zoo next week, and I want to hit up Craft Taco at Balboa. First time. What do you recommend?
Recommend to eat there? Besides everything?
Yeah.
Well, depends who you like, man. Are you more of a carne guy? Do you like pork? Do you like fish tacos? Like, what's our go-to play?
I am more of a pork guy because I like the tenderness of the pork.
Oh, well, they got a lot of good pork things there. The carnitas was money. They also have, I forget what they call it, but they have like a birria, but it's made with pork. Queso, it's got queso and stuff in there, cheese, whatever. But that one's really good too. So definitely recommend diving into some of that as well. What do you got, Frank?
I can tell you from experience, Marcus, there's going to be a giant picture of a meerkat on the window.
Don't be distracted by the meerkat.
Yeah, don't get distracted by the meerkat. It's there, I promise.
Well, they got meerkats at the zoo, so I'll be distracted enough there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyways, I digress. Padre talk. I'm happy with where they're at, and listening to the farm system talk this week, it's been great, and I'm looking forward to the future, guys. With Leo coming up, I think maybe Leo taking over for Xander and moving him over to first base would be a good move defensively. But I guess we'll see, But I'm looking forward to the future, especially with Merrill being signed and stuff. Have a good day, guys. Take care.
All right. We'll see you, Marcus. The taco I'm talking about is the cochinita queso taco. Pork, achiote, pickled onion, and Axcara cheese. Probably butchered really bad on the pronunciation on that. Cochinita queso taco is what you want, Marcus. Anybody mind? How about Juan, by the way? Listen to us in podcast form. Mind on vacation in Hawaii. Rod, pork, cheese, taco. Rod, we ever get lunch, buddy? We haven't had the Rod post yet. Hopefully he's not too hangry. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page. Links down below at @B_SURP. Subscribe to it. It's great. Great content for you each and every day. Try to provide other content that's not on our shows. You can do it by subscribing. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers. And we're more than halfway now, but every subscription helps. So we hopefully you can do that. If you haven't done so already, give us a like on today's video. Subscribe to 97 Through the Fan. Also follow us on social media at @B_SURP, at Frank Marks with a Z, 324 on social media. If you're watching on YouTube, all of the links to our social media accounts are on there, so you can click, follow, subscribe, and dive in to the Braden Surprenant Show. When we come back, a little Aztec football and talking more second half, previewing the second half of the Padres season to finish up the show. I'm sure we'll have another Coldplay joke in there or in there as well. We've had already one person ask about more Coldplay content. We'll try to find some more. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Final segment of the Braden Surprenant Show, leading to Gwynn and Chris on this Thursday. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 Through the Fan. Final segment of the Braden Surprenant Show on Setting number one sports station 97.3 The Fan. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. We have had a blast today on the show. We've talked more about Coldplay than we've talked about really anything else. It's been kind of funny. It's been kind of fun. We've had people clamoring for more Coldplay content as well. Our buddy Juan Ruiz in the chat, his friend's just drawing fouls like crazy right now. He draws a foul for the being scared by the blue masa for the Kraft tortillas. The blue tortillas have scared him. That's a foul. The Xander Bogaerts hitting is the second foul.
He draws the foul. He draws the foul.
He might foul out. He's not even in the chat.
3 more, then we get our Hosmer cameo.
It's true.
Chat, like I said, if chat fouls out, that's the deal. If chat fouls out, we get a Eric Hosmer promo cameo.
Nate Taylor, thank God for Coldplay today. Said no one ever. Except for today, I guess, with Nate. Let's talk about San Diego State football. Aztec football is at Mountain West Media Days right now. At Mountain West Media Days, San Diego State football has placed 3 players on the 2025 preseason All-Mountain West team. Edge rusher Trey White, local kid out of Eastlake. Linebacker Tano Latuli, local player out of Cathedral Catholic. And kicker Gabe Placencia. White was also named the Defensive Player of the Year, and Placencia was the Special Teams Player of the Year. Marks a turnaround year from last year for San Diego State when no Aztecs were selected to the preseason team. Despite these individual honors, San Diego State has been picked to finish 8th in the Mountain West preseason poll. Boise State led the way with 10 players selected and is favored to win the Mountain West Conference again. I already saw the tweet that the Mountain West put out, like Boise State's been picked to win their conference that they've been in like every year for the last, 15 years or something like that. So you're getting some star players returning for San Diego State football. Trey White's recognition as the Defensive Player of the Year in the preseason shows San Diego State still has some elite talent out there, especially on defense. Program's relatively long-time identity going back to the Rocky Long era, in which they were playing some really good defense. Special teams, obviously, a little consistency. You got a kicker that it made was 13 for 14 last year in 2024. A legit kicker late in a game, that always plays well for any football team. After being completely shut out last year from any type of preseason awards, having 3 players selected suggests improved roster strength and perception heading into 2025. You have a good leadership core. All 3 honorees are upperclassmen, giving San Diego State a solid core of experienced leaders at all 3 levels, defense, special teams, and in linebacker. And they got a little bit of that underdog feel, being picked 8th in the preseason poll despite individual honors and giving a team a little chip on the shoulder narrative to rally around. Here's what San Diego State's football schedule is like. And again, I look at the preseason. Look at this with a grain of salt. Because Arizona State last year was picked, I think, last in the Big 12, and they went to the college football playoff. I'm not saying San Diego State's going to do that, but a lot of these teams, it's hard to say what you're going to get. So I got to read that Phil Steele book about the preseason. Here's what San Diego State football is going to look like in terms of their schedule. They got Stony Brook to start the season. I think that's on a Thursday night, August 28th. Haven't announced the time yet officially, according to GoAztecs.com. They'll have their first real test of the season in week 2. And not to say Stony Brook's not, because Stony Brook's a good team. They're a good football team. But they got to go to Pullman in week 2 to take on Washington State. That's a night game in Pullman against the Cougs. They'll have a week off, and then they'll host Cal at Snapdragon Stadium at 7:30 before going to Northern Illinois. And then they will go Colorado. They'll get into conference play. Colorado State, at Nevada, at Fresno State, Wyoming at home, at Hawaii, San Jose State at home in November, and you finish the season at New Mexico. They got key pieces returning and a new identity under Sean Lewis, who has less to do now than he did last year, with them establishing a general manager. And we had him on a couple of weeks ago talking about what his role is with the team, which leads to Sean Lewis focusing more on coaching. So the question is, will San Diego State outperform their 8th place prediction? I think they will. I think San Diego State is going to be in a way better spot this year than they were last year. No, go Aztecs. You got to play Boise State at home. I think San Diego State's going to have a lot better of a year. I think they can beat Stony Brook. I think Washington State's going to be a little bit tougher. But again, Washington State, second year out of a power conference. They're not going to have a power conference type roster. They lost a lot of players last year. They brought in South Dakota State's head coach and a lot of South Dakota State Jackrabbits, who are a good football team in the FCS, but that roster has drastically changed. Cal's going to be a lot better. That's a power school from the ACC. And then you got at Northern Illinois is going to replace San Diego State in the Mountain West Conference. I think San Diego State go 2-2 in their first 4 games. Then you get to conference play. Colorado State, I think, is very beatable. I think at Nevada is a little bit of a trap, but they weren't very good last year. At Fresno State, they were down a little bit last year in football, but trying to hang on to the oil can might be difficult. I think they could beat Wyoming. Hawaii might be a trap, but that's never that great of a team out there on the island. Boise State's going to be a loss. San Jose State, very beatable. And at New Mexico, not even to play UNLV, who's been a lot better the last couple of years. I think Aztec football is going to be a lot better than it was last year. And they could be a little bit of a sleeper team in the Mountain West Conference. We're just kind of briefly previewing them because it's the Mountain West Media Week. We will have a full breakdown of San Diego State as we get closer to the season. Again, we're still here in July. The teams are going to start gearing up here in the next couple of weeks or so through August. And then until I see them in person, it's going to be hard for me to evaluate San Diego State. But I will say this. They bring a lot of players back from their defense last year. A lot of them are local players. I think having a core group of starters back on one side of the ball is going to be big. It sounds like they like what they're seeing at the quarterback position. I think a lot of players are buying in a little bit more this year with Sean Lewis's offense. And with having a general manager kind of take over some of the responsibility for Sean Lewis, I think it's going to let Sean be able to coach a little bit more and do things the way he wants to do. He was doing way too much last year as a head football coach. And when you get spread thin like that and you're busy all over the place, something usually suffers. So in year 2, I think it's going to be a major bounce back. I think San Diego State football is going to be a lot better. Basketball is going to be legit. But I think San Diego State football is going to be a lot better. I'm looking forward to seeing what they could do in the fall. I like Tano Latuli and Trey White representing the defense, both kids from the South Bay. Growing up here in San Diego, I think that goes a long way into representing the city, and they got a lot of pride. And I was able to, be around Tano Latuli as a high school player. That guy's locked in, and he's a leader. Spent his first year at Army, and learned how to do things at an academy for 2 years. I think they're going to be a lot better. Are they going to get 6 wins? I think they could be bowl eligible this year. I think San Diego State could be bowl eligible, and hopefully we get to see the first signs of Aztec fast. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Want to join the show today? We just had Marcus and Menifee join our show. Let's talk about a couple of things that we skipped today with the Padres second half storylines. Again, here are the storylines as laid out by Dennis Lynn in an article earlier today. Michael King, a little bit of a nerve issue. Yu Darvish, elbow, wild cards for the rotation in the second half. AJ Preller has been enamored with Jarren Duran during this entire season, and he could target Red Sox outfielder Jarren Duran, as well as Braves catcher Sean Murphy, but budget and farm depth are concerns. Bullpen, elite but heavily used, may not sustain its dominance without reinforcements. Sluggers like Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson Merrill, and Manny Machado must produce if the team is to contend seriously. Preller's aggressive, unpredictable trade history could shake things up before July 31st. Should A.J. Preller go all in? I don't know if he should go all in. And when I'm talking about all in, I'm talking about potentially trading Leo DeVries or Ethan Salas. I don't think they should be all in on that. In terms of buying at the deadline, yeah, they should be buying. I don't think it's going to take a lot. I mean, we talked about on the roundtable today, which you can re-listen to at 5 o'clock. If you haven't done so already, you can listen to it wherever you get your podcast. It's on our page, too. Subscribe to us. If you don't know where that's at, it's in the link below. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. The Braden Surprenant Show has the roundtable on it. You can go back and watch. Subscribe to it. And wherever you get your podcasts. So, we discussed it a little bit on the roundtable when it comes to the trade deadline and adding in the fringes. And the biggest problem for the Padres has been depth and lack thereof and bench pieces. They don't have bench pieces. You know, it's a lot easier to find at the trade deadline? Bench pieces. It's a lot better than trying to find like a starting pitcher. It's a lot better than trying to find a dynamic superstar player. I mean, it doesn't cost you a lot to get bench pieces. And as Ben Higgins alluded to, and I agree with, you could potentially get some of those guys on waivers that get opened up to fill out the rest of your bench after a couple of moves at the trade deadline. And I already gave my prediction. I think the Padres are going to add 2 bats at the deadline and 1 bullpen arm. That would be my guess. That would be my guess. And there's a lot more out there than I think than we're being alluded to in reports. Again, especially with A.J. Preller. Like, every time that he's linked to somebody, they almost do a 180 and go get somebody else that you haven't even heard of. I mean, they did that with Bob Melvin when they brought him in to be the manager. He wasn't even part of the conversation. I didn't even know he was available. There's always a surprising twist. And before we got to the All-Star break, Dennis Lynn said, don't be surprised if some of these moves are made well before the deadline. Well, we got 2 weeks before the deadline now. Deadline's on July 31st at about like 3 o'clock Pacific time. Padres are going to have their East Coast road trip, and then they're going to come back, and they're going to have 2 games against the Mets, and then it's the deadline being over with. I don't think he should be all in, but I do think he should be adding on the margins. Who's more important to a playoff push, Michael King or Yu Darvish? I think the way that this question is stated leads to 2 different answers. I think Michael King is more important in the playoffs than Yu Darvish. I think Yu Darvish is more important for the playoff push, if that makes sense. In order to make the playoffs, you need guys eating innings. You need guys pitching down the stretch. You need guys to be able to give other players breaks. We've already seen a lot of that with the number 5 starter for the Padres rotation in guys like Ryan Bergert or guys like Randy Vasquez or guys like Stephen Kolek, Kyle Hart. I mean, we've seen all of those guys throw innings. Yu Darvish, if he can throw some innings and get up there at least to 5 or 6 innings and get built up during this time, he's going to eat innings for the rest of your pitching staff. I think you need Yu Darvish for the playoff push. I think you need Michael King for the playoffs. And Michael King is thinking he can get to a point where he is playing again in August. He can't injure himself any further. It's a nerve issue. It's just all about feel. It's just all about feel. Is Jarren Duran the missing piece or just another Preller big swing? I don't necessarily know if he's a big if he's a missing piece. I think I'd probably take it. I'd take Jarren Duran. I think Jarren Duran fixes a problem that you have all season this year and solves it for the next couple of years. Low cost in terms of money, high cost in terms of probably prospect capital. And we haven't asked this question enough. Why are the Red Sox willing to do that? It'll be interesting to see. The last question that comes off of the storylines, the Padres bullpen's been great. But has it been too good to be true? I don't think that's the case, but the more they are used, the more of a problem it's going to be. We saw that in, what was that? What year was that? 2019? When the bullpen was really the only reason why you were winning games with the starting rotation that you had? And it wasn't enough, and they petered out in like June. I mean, you're using the four horsemen a lot. They could use some help probably in the back end. We got some big news for tomorrow, Frank, that involves your favorite sport that we didn't quite get to yet today, but we'll have it tomorrow, as well as a preview for the Nationals game. We'll talk San Diego FC as well. That's all booked on tomorrow's show. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Gwen and Chris coming up next.